Taking care of my mother is so hard. All my life, she gave me the best care she could. Now it's my turn. I have to find my mom the best care.
At Always Best Care, our caregivers are matched to meet your needs. And we even give you access to on-call, round-the-clock physician support, along with your in-home care. If you need help with your mom or dad, call 1-302-409-3710 or visit alwaysbestcaredelaware.com.
Always Best Care is a great place to work.
Flexibility,
leadership, purpose,
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
diversity, inclusion, compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online or call 302-409-3710.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Did you know he'll help you understand? Did you know always a right-hand man? Did you know he's gonna make it clear? Did you know? Come on, listen here. Did you know?
Welcome to the Did You Know Show. My name is Brian Green, and today's show is sponsored by Always Best Care Senior Services. We provide in-home care primarily to seniors. Today, I am very excited to be with two phenomenal women to start off the show. We are down in sunny Norristown. And I'm laughing because it's not that sunny. It's about to snow, actually. But in any event, we're at the Montgomery OIC, and that is Opportunities Industrialization Center. And I'm sitting with the president, CEO, Denise Ash, and one of the case managers, Sheila Wright. And these two women, I gotta say, they're phenomenal in their own way. But over the years, I have gotten to know them very, very, very specially, especially Sheila. You know, shout out to Darren Johnson out there, baby brother. And I went to Virginia State. And I'm going to pick on Denise a little bit later on in the show because she went to Norfolk State. And
Absolutely.
She's my sorority sister. So Omega Psi Phi and Delta Sigma Theta is in the house. But we're going to talk today about the programs, the reentry programs for the participants and individuals that can benefit from this not-for-profit in Norristown, which is Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. And so, Denise, let's start off. You're the president, CEO, head lady in charge. Tell us about OIC. How long have we been here? What is the overall program? Who can benefit from it?
Well, thank you, Brian. It's always nice to be here with my brother, and from another mother, of course. But I have been here for 23 years, and Montgomery County OIC was opened in 1965 as one of the affiliates from the main office in Philadelphia, which is started by the Dr. Reverend Leon Sullivan. So we have been at this location since 1966. It was purchased from the Norristown School District. So this is our home. It is a 125-year-old facility, which does cause me a lot of headaches and angst and all to maintain it and keep it up. But we have spent over $5 million over the last 20 years in renovations and upgrades and upkeep because we want to keep the building the way it is.
The sweat equity of keeping this place going, but the reward is really seeing a lot of people get a second chance in employment.
Exactly. So yes, we actually started off with mostly doing the, back in the day it was a trades program. So we had an electrical motor doing cars and fits and stuff, which I don't know anything about. But they had a masonry class. They had which is now bricklayers. They did chimneys that they built downstairs in the basement. They did fireplaces and all the brickworks. There was a carpentry class. A couple others that were trades. That's where the Opportunities Industrialization Center name came from. Over the years, they changed shift focus and went into more literacy training, job training. We now do CNA with our Chester County counterparts. We do a TNA. We do ServSafe, forklift, career readiness. We did a pre-apprenticeship program, which actually placed about 7 individuals into pre-apprenticeship positions making very good salaries. So that's the summary of OIC.
How big is this place? This is a really nice facility. It's my first time being here, although I've talked to you many times over the years.
Yes.
How big is this place? What's the square footage?
It's 26,000 square feet.
Wow, and it's really nice. And you talked about the money to keep it going. You guys do have a very, let me say, it's a very nice facility. And so when you think about the different programs of your job readiness, financial literacy, soft skills, all kinds of prep that you really put into folks, how many people actively are participating? Is there sessions? How does it work? How does the program really work? And we're going to talk to members of your staff throughout the show.
Right.
But what is the overview of the program for the people that are watching? How do you sign up? What do you go through? What can you expect?
Well, they can go on our website. We have a really nice website at www.montcooic.org, and you can get information there, look at our programs. If not, just call us at the 610-279-9700 number. Right now, because of COVID, we're limiting the number of people that can come into the facility.
Okay.
So our day classes are 9 to 1, Monday through Thursdays for our GED, but they're broken into 2 sessions. So there's a 9 to 11 o'clock session, and then there's like 11:15 to 1 o'clock. And then we have a night program for Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. What we do is if they call in and register, then we will look at our schedule to see how many people we have coming in and limit the number of people so we can practice social distancing.
It's the way of the world right now. But hopefully in this new administration, we'll move back to some level of normalcy. I just had to slide that in there.
Yes.
Okay, so how is the OIC funded? And as we go through the program, you can look at the bottom of our screen and you can see how to contact us. You can see the website, you can see the phone number. But for the folks that are out there watching, whether there's somebody that can participate as an individual in the actual program or maybe a potential employer, what do we do and how do we support you? Is there crowdfunding? Is it state funded? Is it grants and that kind of thing? I know that's a part of your job too. Smile, keep smiling, Denise. Come on.
Yes, it is. I am constantly writing grants. That is basically about 80% of our funding comes from grants. We have one federal grant, which we'll talk more about today, which is the SOAR program and reentry. But we have a county grant, we have state, we have foundations. So every day you will find me in there writing grants to get funding for the program. Individuals can make donations. They can put the donation in name of someone. They can do it, in honor of different people. We will make sure it goes to good use. But everything we do here has to be funded. People can help by making donations to the program. Our literacy program is really an unfunded program at this time. We're looking to work with the Department of Education to get that funded. We have groups like the Rotary Foundation came in and funded our whole computer lab.
Okay.
So we got 15 computers by them, and they did, all the work to set it up and put everything in place. We had an organization that donated funds for our food drive.
Okay.
And it wasn't really a food drive. It was just during COVID. We took over as making sure people had something to eat during the period of time for food with the Norristown School District. So we have people out there every week that's handing out food, and that's funded by private citizens and so forth. And if people want to help, we need employers to give people opportunities to move forward. We need them to, either fund a particular part of the program or that training part of the program, because I really don't want to be in here till 10 o'clock every night writing grants. And actually, a couple weeks ago, I had Donnell in here, one of my staff members, and we left at 2:55 a.m.
Wow, really the level of commitment.
Yes, it is. So Sheila's another one. She's been hanging in here with me. We have walked out this parking lot at 10 o'clock at night after doing grants. But I have to say we've gotten a lot of good response initially from the CDBG grants, which is community service grants, to do the roof, to do things like an HVAC system. We put new windows in, 125 of them.
Okay.
Throughout to give the building, at least a better, cleaner look, to be, energy efficient. We put in new cameras through a grant with the municipality. So we are begging all the time. I'm pretty good now at begging people for money. But right now we're running into the issue with lack of care for child care.
Okay.
So that's our big thing. We're looking to hopefully get a sponsor to help start up the daycare center that we want to do on the first floor, which is 9,000 square feet, and we can do up to 110 kids.
Okay.
But 50 right now during COVID. The need for child care is unbelievable in this area because of the centers that have closed and the parents who have to work but don't have anyone to
watch
their children. So currently we have about 25 to 30 kids enrolled. You don't hear them right now, but they're down the other end of the hall.
That's how big this place is.
On their Chromebooks doing their work, their virtual work.
So let's turn the conversation to Sheila Wright. Okay. Sheila Wright is one of the fabulous case managers here. And Sheila, you participate or you support one of the programs called SOAR. And that's Skills, Opportunities, and Mission Achievement. I don't want to get it wrong. Explain it to us.
Okay, the SOAR is our reentry program, and the case manager will be coming on to talk about that. I do support that program, but I have a lot of other programs that I support here at OIC. Okay. Reentry program is just one of the many programs that we have here. And so when a person calls in or puts in an application, then that application gets to me. So whether they're interested in GED, whether they're interested in our PAC program, which is our program for juvenile offenders.
Okay.
And it's the same thing. We're about training, education, and putting them on the pathway to success. And so whatever barriers are keeping them from getting that success, then that's what I do. I mediate those things with them, you know, as they're going through our job training program, as they're on a job placement. So I would, you know, support them, and whatever barriers that come up, you know, both of us together decide how we're going to mediate those. And so it's not just our job to get them a job. We want to get them a job, but we want them to support the whole person. So
when you talk about financial literacy and
yeah.
soft skills, that's so important. You know, obviously it's no secret, I run a home care business. And so with the workforce currently right now, our youngest caregiver is 18, and our oldest caregiver is near her 80s, right? And so it's like 5 generations of folk. But the biggest part of that of that workforce is a generation, I would say, from 23 to about 35. And really, for me, I'm always interested about soft skills training because a lot of the young people have grown up in a technology kind of an environment. And so simple things like shaking hands, eye contact, really engaging, you know, it's kind of sometimes reduced to an email. And sometimes you get tired. I guess I'm getting to be a mature, seasoned person too, old, because I don't want to talk to the top of your head. I want to talk to your face and talk to you. So when you bring young people, and I'm always supportive of these programs, and then some for the senior folks too, that, you know, probably are maybe a little, you know, introverted and shy, but selling yourself and becoming the master of your brand. And Sheila, I love the way you put it. You guys support the whole person. The other thing that I've noticed just as an employer, just giving some employer feedback, which is interesting, from a financial literacy program, we have partnered with one of the banks to give that kind of a program with savings and check-ins and that kind of a deal. But when it comes to 401k, a lot of times when young people quit or terminate, they cash out their 401k. They don't really see the value in rolling it over. And so, I mean, I'm not judging anybody, because you need your money, that's one thing. But if you're just taking it out because you see a pocket of money sitting there, you don't see the value of saving. And so I'm glad to hear that you guys support financial literacy and job readiness and that kind of thing. Sheila, when people come in and they fill in the application, and I guess we'll talk more in the program with your employment specialists and other case managers, but what is, minus COVID, if you could just, I want to kind of get two kind of ideologies of the program. Right now with COVID, what is the ratio student to, I don't want to say professor, but teacher? And then without COVID, how is it 15 to 1, 10 to 1? Like now in COVID, what is it?
So Basically, we will run, say we're going to do a forklift training or a serve safe training. That's about 10 students because we have enough room with computers or room to spread out. So we're not doing more than 10 at a time. Initially, our building is open. A lot of our Montgomery County buildings are not open to coming in face to face, but we are open. So I'm here. You can make an appointment. I'll see, 2 people today, but not in groups. So we really practice safe distancing, masks and all. And our students down the hall there, they all have their mask on. And we've been very fortunate. We've not had any outbreaks here. So, and I'm glad you were talking about the disparity between the young people and the older. So our older people in this Zoom meeting, Zoom interview, they have no idea.
It's terrible.
So that's one of I would like to run a computer Zoom class so that, even myself, I don't even know how to set up a Zoom. I know how to get on, but I don't know how to set up. So I would like to run a class for those adults because that's the new world that we're living in. And so many of the jobs that we are offering, they have to work from home. They have to have a laptop. They have to be able to print and
you have to have internet access.
Yes.
How about that?
Which is a huge thing. And just while you're talking, I just went into my head, the reverse of what you're saying, Sheila, in terms of the older generation. Because now, from a health perspective, you have this now telehealth.
Yes.
So you don't get a face-to-face all the time with your physicians. You have to get on a Zoom or a call. So you have to pick. Yeah, it has been one of the complaints, but it's interesting. The intergenerational vibe. I want to talk about that in this place, if you don't mind. Just because you brought it up, and I'm thinking about it. I know in my world, we obviously, because we manage a real multicultural, diverse workforce, but it's also an intergenerational workforce. And some of the things that you would say to a 25-year-old, you would have to tailor your approach with a 45, 55, 65-year-old because they're still in the workforce. And, a lot of things with technology, I say it's best to keep a young person around you because they seem to know technology.
They can do technology, yes.
But if you could just transfer the skills sometimes of a senior seasoned person to the younger person and what that involves in terms of work ethic, as an employer, I find value in that.
Yeah, definitely. Because the younger people now, if they work longer than 5 years in a job, that's considered long term.
That's a long term.
Now, I've been over 20 years here, but when you think back, when we were growing up, my age, I'm saying, our parents were at a job for 20, 30 years. That's very rare today. And so, 5 years, 7 years has been the average when people come in here. Oh, I've been there for a long time. I just celebrated 5 years. Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
And it's interesting that you say that because, again, to my season of life right now is home care. And so there's a national average. Some statistics say that there's a 87% turnover in home care. And a lot of that is because, I think that number's skewed a little bit because, one, a lot of the work in home care is part-time, number one. And then a lot of work now in the workforce is part-time for different reasons. A lot of times, companies that are held to that benefit situation, we'll get into that. But then, with us, if a client passes away or moves into a different facility or decides they don't want the program anymore or they expire, then that caregiver goes back into the pool. And so if Always Best Care can't immediately find them a case and another agency can, then they leave us and they might come back and they might not. But that's considered a turnover situation. And so I have to imagine in some other workforces that is an issue. But we tell people, and I don't know what you do in your training, but I want to talk about that a little bit. When you talk to them about training and becoming the master of their own brand, is it like, is it a 10-week course? Like, what's going on? Like, you mentioned, since I've been here, 3 programs. And I know OIC, I wrote them down, OIC, SOAR, the PACT. What's the PACT about? Can we talk about that a little bit?
Okay, the PACT program is for our juvenile offenders.
Okay.
And they normally will have a probation officer. They might not be. They might be high school dropouts. So automatically, they're going to be in our GED program.
Okay.
But we try to give them the life skills, the soft skills about job-appropriate interviewing skills, computer. The biggest thing you said with technology is goal number one. When you're in an interview or when you're in class, we don't need your phone. So that those phones
say it
for
again.
them,
Please say it again.
Phones are their life. So, but you know, and even with me, if I have my phone in there and it goes off, I get so mad. I don't, you know, but
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction. So, for them, that's part of the etiquette that we stress with them. Dress, being punctual, just simple things for us, but for them, they just don't have it. And so they have some restraints and some barriers that they have to overcome before and plus they're blessed with juvenile as opposed to our more senior people, because that's on their record. These kids won't have a record if they just continue in the right path. So
don't fly too close to the sun.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So,
because you'll get burned.
So they're exposed to our Safe Surf. So some of them are out working in the different restaurants. They're exposed to forklift training. So if they need a job at Lowe's or Amazon,
FedEx.
That's FedEx. So and some of the kids that come, they don't have a license. That's their big thing. We want to drive, so we assist them in that.
Mm-hmm.
They set the pathway, and I just support them. So I ask them what their goals are. I don't tell them, oh, you got to go to college, or it's their goals and their path. Most of them, they'll tell me in a minute. They don't know. They'll say,
that's a fair situation.
Right, exactly. Very fair.
It's fair I've had a lot of friends over the years, and we kind of are at that point now, I guess midlife crisis, if you want to say it like that, but kind of reflective in that some of my friends went through the military. Some of my friends went to college, as I did. Some people just stayed home and just got a job and, stuck at that job, not long or not. They did that. But when we kind of go back and reflect on our path, you're reflective and introspective, because as many things change, a lot of things stay the same. And the basic thing for me, and I find myself saying it all the time, is just be the master of your brand. Whether you're 15 or whether you're 35, you should be able to tell somebody in 60 seconds or less what you want to do.
What you want to do, right.
What you want to do. And it's okay if it's okay if you are a person that doesn't know what you want to do. And here's the other thing, too, that I find really interesting. A lot of people, once they've done a career, whether it's been warehousing or, physical working, sometimes they want to do a career transition.
Exactly.
Because their bodies get older, you know what I mean? And
yes,
so
we know. Yeah, we know.
Exactly. And they want to now work in the office, that kind of thing. Because a lot of people say they want to retire, but a lot of people,
they can't afford to retire.
They can't afford to retire.
So that's why we're here, to help others help themselves. That's what.
Exactly.
That's why we're.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back with some members of your staff.
Okay.
We have coming up Araya and Brent, who are a case manager and employment specialist. We're going to continue the conversation. We're at the Montgomery OIC. Thank you, Sheila Wright. Thank you, Denise Ash.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can take in a concert sooner than later. We'll see. Hopefully get some normalcy. Hopefully by the summertime, maybe I'm praying that we can get back to the Dell. We'll see.
Yes, we will. We will. It will change.
I'm hoping that a new administration's 100 days, 100 million people getting vaccinated comes mostly true.
And that's why our TNA program is important, in working with you and your agency to get people out there.
All right. So let's take a quick break. We're going to come back on the other side. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We're going to continue our conversation with a case manager and an employment specialist.
Thank you.
Taking care of my mother is so hard. All my life, she gave me the best care she could. Now it's my turn. I have to find my mom the best care.
At Always Best Care, our caregivers are matched to meet your needs. And we even give you access to on-call, round-the-clock physician support, along with your in-home care. If you need help with your mom or dad, call 1-302-409-3710 or visit alwaysbestcaredelaware.com.
Always Best Care is a great place to work.
Flexibility.
Leadership. Purpose.
Great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity. Inclusion. Compasión.
We love our jobs.
If you're looking for a great place to work,
you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online or call 302-409-3710.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Did you know?
Welcome back to the Did You Know Show. I want to remind our viewers that I'm on the radio on Saturdays at 4 p.m. You can check me out on WURD Radio at 4 p.m. on Saturdays. The Did You Know Show is centered around connecting people to home, community, and business resources that you ordinarily wouldn't know about. And today we're at the Montgomery County OIC, and I'm sitting here with two fairly new employees, and it's going to be interesting to talk to them because I'm really excited to really hear, what their roles are and how they hope to really make an impact to the program. And so we're here at OIC, and I'm sitting here with Araya Truppi and Brent Ebner. Araya, you're the case manager, and you work with the SOAR program.
Right.
Tell us what you do.
So the SOAR program is just a workforce reentry program, and so as a case manager, I am really first enrolling. I'm usually the first contact. I'm enrolling these participants, and usually having an interview, sort of conversation with them to get to know them, both as a person and then also what they want to do career-wise in the long run. And then I work with the employment specialist to put that person in the right career path and develop a case plan that really meets their goals, addresses the barriers that they have to employment or risk of recidivism, and also accounts for their strengths.
And so for the people that are watching, whether it's the village or the actual participant, when somebody calls you and they have to deal with the enrollment process, what are some of the questions that they should be prepared to answer?
So to be eligible for the SOAR program, you have to be court involved in some way. Mm-hmm. You could have been released or off of papers for about a year, maybe 2 years, or currently under supervision with probation, parole, out on bail, or really any court involvement is usually going to make you eligible for the program. Beyond that, we just need an ID and your social security card to make sure that you're eligible. Since our funding comes from the Department of Labor, we have to jump through some, bureaucratic hoops.
Okay, makes sense.
So the ID, social security card, and that's eligibility that I can think of off the top of my head.
All right. Well, let's shift the conversation to my main man, Brent Ebner. Brent, you're new. You're also new to OIC, and you're entitled the employment specialist. So once the candidate or the person that is going through the enrollment and they've made their decision whether or not their skill set is going to be something of CNA or forklift or retail perhaps, then you deal with them, and then what is that like? Explain to us what your role is.
Yeah, and I build off of the case manager, so there's certain assessments that are given in the beginning. And then from there, I also have an assessment that's a personality assessment, and a career assessment that will, provide some kind of insight on what pathway that the participant wants to go. So I look at the case notes that Araya has done, and then from there, we build a case, and then we sort of, put them in that direction. So off of those assessments. And then certainly along the way, there's a lot of interviewing that goes along with that. I know Araya does that with the participants. I'll also give sort of an interview. I'll introduce myself, things like that. And then, yeah, we absolutely, that's the idea. There's a database right now of employers that are existing, that I've worked off of as a new employment specialist. But from there, I also do a lot of community outreach and try to build some more connections with employers that, are forgiving in terms of second chance individuals that are open-minded for that. And from there, we work with participants. There's also a training part of it that, so we also offer, certain trainings here at the OIC that, again, off those assessments and the interviews, if that participant's interested, in some of those specific trainings that we have here right now. We're always building more trainings. And we build the case and we get them towards a pathway, towards a substantial career.
Sounds like, and I don't want to oversimplify it, but sounds like somewhat of a headhunter kind of a situation. But you're doing a lot more touch and feel and massaging the situation. I'm always interested in talking about the personality assessments that you do and that kind of thing. Is it the DISC or is it the Myers-Briggs? I'm just being nosy now. Which personality? Can you tell us which personality?
Yeah, I mean it's called ONET.
Okay.
And it really gives a broad overview of
the individual.
Yeah, of the individual and really the personality. And then in terms of there's several questions that are generated, so we can really hone in on that personality and those traits that will fit a certain industry. And
I gotta applaud you because that is so important. People think, okay, so it's no secret I am a home care provider, but a lot of what my staff does is matchmaking, even within home care. And so while we don't have maybe a clearly defined personality traits, or a DISC or a Myers-Briggs or ONET, what we do have to do very clearly is, are you somebody that is introverted or extroverted? Are you somebody that's allergic to cats or not a cat person? Are you somebody that likes game shows or puzzles? Do you have any military experience? Do you, are you aspiring to go further in your career in healthcare? Do you want to be a nurse? Because we take care of a lot of retired professionals, and we, just to kind of give you a scenario, it's always interesting to me when we send somebody that's studying to be a nurse into a retired nurse's home. And my retired nurses are, they are full of energy, but full of balance and structure. Nurses 30, 40, 50 years ago were not allowed to wear jewelry, no earrings, no fingernails. They had the uniform, they polished their shoes, and they had the hat and their cape. And special shout out to my grandmother, who was a retired nurse after 50 years. I remember very clearly her ironing her situation. So when you send somebody into that home, you don't want to send them in to fail. You want to send them in there to prosper. And so, you got to tell them, listen, you're going in there with 2 shades of hair. We're not going to discriminate, but understand that this person was not allowed to wear excessive jewelry. If they had earrings, they had to have earring posts. So when you come in there, when I'm sending a young person into somebody's house, they have 2 colors of hair and earring posts and tattoos and that kind of thing. Doesn't rule you out, but understand the person that you're taking care of, there might be some miles to climb in that. And so you don't want to tell them to relax who they are, but you have to tell them that there is a decorum in the workforce. And that's just my example. Because again, earlier in the show I spoke to managing probably 5 generations of folk, as young as 18, as elder as 80. And so, it's interesting, I'm 51, I'll just put it out there. So a lot of times I find myself making references, for instance, to sitcoms or scenarios, and people are looking at me like, what are you talking about? But they're polite about it, but I have to understand communication is two-way. And there's no sense in me trying to communicate as an employer to somebody that's not receiving it. Doesn't rule you out. And a lot of times we spend a lot of time. So I'm very happy to hear that you guys are taking that much time, because oftentimes when you talk to people, you think one way, but by the time you get at the end of the enrollment or the assessment, do you find yourselves, and I'm going to come back to you first, Rod, do you find yourselves like saying, okay, have you considered this maybe?
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of things that people, they don't know what they want to do,
Which is okay.
Yeah, and that's fine. Or they might think that they want to do something, but then realize that that's actually not the best choice for them. I think a lot about putting somebody in the food industry who, isn't into customer service or is very introverted, that's going to decrease the likelihood that they're going to be successful in the long run in the reentry sense of they could recidivate because they aren't as interested in the work as they would be in a better career field. And so really matching that career and the job placement to what they're interested in and what they're going to be fulfilled doing is going to greatly increase the outcomes that we have.
I want to ask you both. Well, I want you to get back to that. So let's deal with that question because I don't want to get off that path. So, do you also find yourself they've gotten past enrollment? You guys are the pitch hitters in terms of you feed him the information. Okay, now he's making the sausage, if you will. You're taking that and you're going back and you're saying, okay, I'm looking at these spectrum of employers. You're saying customer service, but we think you're probably more of a second, third shift kind of a night auditor, where you don't really that your customer interaction is limited, and then you have to. I would imagine, and I'm just imagining maybe sometimes that takes a little bit of counseling, because people don't really see themselves sometimes the way that they really portray. And I've gotten to the point where I pay attention to a lot less of what you say and more of what you do. And so, and I keep saying it's okay. Everybody learns different. Everybody thinks different. Everybody, some people are more, have the gregarious personality, and some people are really sometimes withdrawn. But there's, at least what I'm gathering through this interview, there's a place for everybody. So what advice, Brent, could you give people? I'm sure you give a lot of advice, and I'm going to ask both of you, and I'm just thinking in my head, because I'm thinking in my head, what's the success rate in terms of people coming back and saying thank you? But before that, what would you tell a potential person that's trying to re-enter the workforce? And along those lines, Araya has said, okay, now we've talked about it, you got to do the enrollment, you might want to consider this. When you're prepping them, if you will, for the job, what is that like? What is that conversation like?
Yeah, I think keep an open mind. I think just because maybe had past experience in a certain field, joining this program, that's what we're going to do. We're going to give assessments. We're going to open up your mind. We're going to show you some things that you might not be aware of that you are strong at. So I think, keeping an open mind and staying positive, and certainly that self-confidence, that self-confidence is going to go a long way. So I think, I think the sky's the limit. I think, certainly if you're interested in the participants interested in the programs that we have, that's a great thing. But we can also look outside of that and, really take a look and hone in, as I said before, on your strengths, but what you really want to do, what makes your heart really go. I think what gets your juices flowing is really going to be what you really want to do, and that could be in any discipline or any industry that we decide on. And you can always, it doesn't mean that you've had past experience in one again. That we can go in different areas. We can try different things, but the goal is certainly to get you in a pathway and something substantial, a career.
So let's look into the future, but also right now into the present. How does it feel when people come back and say thank you? And do you see, either one of you, do you see any referral going on? I had some doubts about this program, but because I went through it, Brent and Araya helped me, I want to introduce you to my friend. Does that happen a lot?
Yeah, we do have a lot of people who will bring in, their friends or their family members who are in similar situations and think that they could benefit from the program. And it is really cool to see people come back and, we have
support you.
We're starting to think about incorporating participants into our training so that it's the participants who are training participants, right? Like that is real community organizing there. And they have ownership over that community. It's their community.
When you're out there doing community outreach, where are you at? Are you working with not-for-profits? Because I guess in my mind, I immediately just thought of retail or warehouse. But are we directing folks to like any of the walks, whether it be Alzheimer's, cancer, kidney, lupus, drug addiction programs, like not-for-profit programs to get people, together? Are we working in those spaces, or when you do community outreach, where are you at?
Well, with COVID, it's been a little
difficult. I can imagine. A
little limited, but I mean, the apprenticeships are a big one. The unions are a big one that we've focused on, and have some prior connections before I started. And then I have reached out to some folks that I have some connections with. So, you know, and even military, I think, is another big avenue that we might explore, because, you know, these are substantial careers, and again, I think that's part of the goal. But if that's not for you, then we can certainly hone in on, as you said, something more retail, or certainly home care, or you know, the warehousing, logistics, things like that. So right now, but it's a definitely great idea to do that, and to get to some of those different nonprofits and different kind of events. So.
Because I would imagine, you know, a lot of times, you know people want to help. Given a second chance, people really do want to kind of get on their feet and do have a feel-good moment. I know that it's for me, it's rewarding when we place somebody in. For instance, when we're talking to a client, and the first thing out of their mouth is that I don't want a young person. And I don't want a young person. I don't want that. You know, I don't want the young girl with the 5-color hair and a tramp stamp and this, that, and the third. And you know, then when you put them in there, you say, well, come on, Miss Johnson, give them a chance. You know, you have somebody in your family like that you give, all right, and they give them a chance, and then you check on them 2 or 3 months down the road, and they're inseparable. And you start hearing things like, oh, that young girl is showing me how to use Facebook, and she's showing me how to use Instagram. You know that Instagram, and I didn't even try to use my cell phone, but now I'm listening to music. I'm listening to Spotify and Pandora on my. That's for me a win-win situation. Nobody's arguing. You know, everybody. You have this kind of intergenerational coexistence going on, and kind of as an employer, you know, there's not a long line. There is a national caregiver shortage, and I'm just speaking from my season where I'm at. And so when I hear about these job readiness programs, you know, I'm very anxious to support. Let's peek into the future, because I think that we have scheduled a job fair, and that we're going to be really working to really, you know, recruit folks in Montgomery County. And we're going to be working with you guys, and I'm excited. I'm excited about it. So what are we going to do for the job fair? You know, what are we going to do, Brent? What are we going to do for the job fair? What's your ideology of it? I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. What do you want to do? If you had your wish list, what would you want the employer to do?
Oh, so what would I want you to do on this job fair?
Yes.
You know, I think it's going to be, you know, and I've, you know, job fairs are, it'll be interesting. You know, we're going to have the spacing and COVID and things like that, but to still, you know, try to make as much of a connection as we can, and to engage the participants that, or prospective participants that come, and you know, to that, I'm imagine it's open to anybody. So you know, whether they're current or prospective, you know, and the information, you know, having the information out there will be key. You know, as we have here some information, but having that information that they can take away from. But yeah, to have that sort of one-on-one, that engagement, that's going to be great. It's going to be awesome in this time that's been limited with COVID, but it would be, you know, so that's what I would envision. Yeah.
All right. So, Araya, what's on your wish list? If I had to ask you your wish list, and, you know, I'm an employer coming in, you know, I'm sure you have your enrollees that you're just, and I know you don't have any favorites, so I won't put you on the spot. But I'm sure you have, you know, what as an employer, or as we're talking, potential employers, what would you say to us? You know, what would you give us, you know, what would you give us as, you know, some, you know, Brent, I like what you said, keep an open mind, because we have to. You know, that's one thing. But then also, you know, what should we expect as an employer?
Right. So Brent is definitely, you know, the liaison between the participants and the employer, and tries to build that bridge.
Right.
Where me as a case manager, I'm much more focused on the well-being of the participant holistically.
Right.
And especially for the SOAR program and people who are in reentry, the way that they're treated by our society, you know, people have been told that they're lesser, they're worth less than somebody else, or you know, that the worst thing that they've ever done defines them as a person. And especially if you've experienced the trauma of incarceration, you know, there's so much damage that has been done, and people really need to be treated like they are just as valuable as the next person.
So meet them where they are.
Yeah.
you know, somebody trying to get a second chance and really be positive. I thank both of you for coming on to my show, and you know, and it's interesting that I got two people that are fairly new to this program, but clearly you have a lot of expertise with working with folks trying to get them jobs. So thank you. For you guys setting them up and you know, queuing them up and telling them that it's serious. And I just look forward to working with you guys. I really look forward to working with the team. When I walk through OIC, I get a sense of work-life balance. I get a sense of people that really do care, are experienced, and real people. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break and come back on the other side and continue our conversation with Donnell Brown. She's the Senior Case Manager, Program Director, and we're going to really find out some more things. I'm interested to pluck her brain. Thank you, Araya and Brent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Did you know?
Taking care of my mother is so hard. All my life, she gave me the best care she could. Now it's my turn. I have to find my mom the best care.
At Always Best Care, our caregivers are matched to meet your needs. And we even give you access to on-call, round-the-clock physician support, along with your in-home care. If you need help with your mom or dad, call 1-302-409-3710 or visit alwaysbestcaredelaware.com.
Always Best Care is a great place to work.
Flexibility.
Leadership. Purpose.
Great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity. Inclusion. Compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online or call 302-409-3710.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Did you know?
Welcome back to the Did You Know Show. As we wind down the show, I'm going to be talking to the Senior Program Manager, Donnell Brown, and also returning back on the set is our CEO and President, Denise Ash. And we're going to start with you, Donnell. You know, you're the Senior Program Manager, but, you know, we were talking off set, and you have a story to tell.
I do. I just wanted to just sort of start off by saying, you know, I'm the evidence that someone can come from a very dark place in their lives and turn their lives around, become not only a contributing member of society, but just live their dream. Okay. And so as Senior Reentry Program Manager here, I think it's really important for me to share that with people. That, you know, we're not just here as a program for you to take advantage of, but we're really invested in the individual because we know how high that mountain is to climb and how difficult it could be, and that we're here to support you, your family, your endeavors, and just make your dreams come true. The path will not be straight, nor will it be easy, but we're here to support you in that endeavor.
If you're looking at the bottom of your screen, you can see how to call the Montgomery County OIC as well as their website. If you're a potential employer or you're a potential person that wants to re-enter the workforce and in a really structured and caring way, this team, I have to endorse them because they are transparent. What you see is what you get. But I have a question. As I've gone through the show, and I kind of asked you guys offline, we all are obviously English speaking. What about our folks that speak another language? How do we kind of continue to outreach for them?
Well, I can let Miss Denise share more about that, but we're really fortunate in Montgomery County to have a network of people that we can count on to interpret for our participants. And Miss Denise can talk about our language line.
Language line? Well, we do have language line. So if someone comes in and is speaking in another language, we can pick up the phone and they will immediately interpret for us, for that particular person. We also have 2 employees who speak Spanish. Okay. So they will do interpretations for us with the Spanish program. And we have an ESL class right here on site. Right on. So if anyone's interested in learning English, Miss Smith, who's been with us for over 15 years, will be glad to have you in the class, and we can help you along. So we have some options.
Right on. So
we actually are training, our forklift training in November. We had somebody who had language barriers. He spoke Spanish, so one of our employees interpreted the whole training for him.
And he passed.
And he passed.
Right
Did
on.
very well.
And see, that's you know, that I'm pretty sure somebody's out there watching. You know, maybe a potential participant, maybe somebody that's in a village that has somebody that just needs a hand up and not a hand down. Mm-hmm. And what I like about your spirit that just kind of grabs me and chokes me and just loves me up is the fact that you're very transparent that the hill is a high mountain to climb, but it's making no excuses. Other people have done it, and it can be done. And so, and that's why, I'm glad to hear that there's some people here that have had the unfortunate experience of going through something, but then, you can turn lemons into lemonade, or, one of my favorite gospel singers says, when we fall down, we get back up. We get back up again. So tell us what you do. What is your role here as a senior program manager down now?
My role is to develop a program that people can get employment training in various fields and industries. We are focusing on transportation and logistics, healthcare, hospitality, and food, the food industry or restaurants, and also the building trades, and we're pushing ourselves into urban agriculture. We'd like to introduce folks to urban ag because it is the way of the future. We are wanting to develop a vibrant local and sustainable food system, and we all should be a part of. And why not people, returning citizens, be a part of the solution? We're also talking to our technical school to develop a green industry, training in green industries, like solar, wind, electric cars, that type of thing.
Oh, right on, right on. Do you guys work in tandem, Denise or Donnell, do you guys work in tandem with any other not-for-profits? I asked that earlier in the show, but do you have an ongoing relationship? I know you have an ongoing relationship with Why Not Prosper. Shout out to Reverend Michelle Simmons, who has the Women's Reentry Program, but obviously this program is for women and men. And so do you guys work with any not-for-profits or anything like that?
We do. Most of our partners are other nonprofits who are in similar roles in the community, helping people to help themselves by supporting them within their with their employment endeavors, or just getting their lives back on track. I just started here in October. I'm more than impressed how Montgomery County OIC has been the glue that has held this community together all these years. And Ms. Denise being at the helm of that.
My sorority sister,
that's
by the
right.
way.
She's
Delta
done
Sigma Theta.
amazing
That's right,
work. So I'm glad to be here, and the fellowship that is here in Montgomery County among other nonprofits to really invest in people is palpable. You can see it. I came from Dauphin County, and nothing about Dauphin County, but collaboration was a challenge. I don't quite yet see that here. I see it being very collaborative.
And that's true. Like, thank you, Donnell. Just like working with you. We cannot do it by ourselves, and we don't want to. There's so many agencies that want to work in a silo. It's not going to work. Right. But we work with the county, the community, the school district has been great. We work with other nonprofits, the food trust, and different people to get us what we need and to give them what they need. So it's been a really good partnership. We actually have one of the emotional care facilities that we're working with, and we have a group of people who have been involved in the justice system that we're now using as mentors. And these young people, well, they're maybe your age, but these middle-aged people have been in the system and have been in there for years.
Something.
Yes, they were recently released, so now they want to give back, and they have the knowledge, the internal knowledge that none of us have. So working with them, that's one of our new partners, and we have trauma-informed care partners, all wraparound services. because that's what we want to do. Like, if we want to send you somebody, when we send you a potential employee, we want them to be right.
So as we wind down the show, because my producer and technology people are signaling to me that, you know, we have to wind down.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when you have, you know, a good program and a good show. The time goes by really quickly. As we wind down, what, Denise or Donnell, what is your call to action? What's on your wish list? Tell us what's on your wish list. If you had your way, do you want people to look at the bottom of the screen and be able to make a donation? Do you have, you know, potential employers that you would like to kind of seek out and call you? Or if your mom, dad, grandmom, auntie, you know, the neighbor, that you know that person that has gotten into a situation and they're trying to climb that mountain to get to a better place, this is one of the places that you will call. They're in Montgomery County, 1101 Arch Street. I guess it was downtown Norristown.
We're center Norristown.
Center Norristown. But
we're downtown.
Really quickly, what would be your wish list? One or two things that you would want?
Well, you know, you said it, Brian. We want all the above.
Yep.
We want people to support us with their money.
Okay.
So if you, that is plain and simple. If you have it in your heart to make sure that OIC, Montgomery County OIC, continues to thrive in this community, dig into your pocket and help us deliver better services to people in our community and beyond. If you would like an employment opportunity, do not despair. I know where you are. I know what it's like to feel like nobody's going to give you a second chance. Well, I had to be given a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chances, and Miss Denise just gave me another one. There are people out here for you that believe in you and that want you to prosper and want you to live your best self. So please take advantage of our training programs here, our literacy programs, our food programs.
And our community.
And our community. We're here to support you. If you need help, please come. And you said something, Brian, there was a third thing that I wanted to.
Support from an employer, donations, and employer, that kind of thing. We're going to do a job fair. It's going down on February 25th here.
Right here.
Check out the websites. Again, this show has been brought to you by Always Best Care. You can check us out at teamgreenabc.com. You can call us at 267-909-9248. That's the show. Thank you, Montgomery OIC, for having me.
And we thank you.
Thank you.
All right, right on. And I look forward to working with you guys. You guys got to come back on the show later on in the year.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you know he'll help you understand? Did you know always a right-hand man? Did you know he's gonna make it clear? Did you know? Come on, listen here. Did you know?
Taking care of my mother is so hard. All my life, she gave me the best care she could. Now it's my turn. I have to find my mom the best care.
At Always Best Care, our caregivers are matched to meet your needs. And we even give you access to on-call, round-the-clock physician support, along with your in-home care. If you need help with your mom or dad, call 1-302-409-3710 or visit alwaysbestcaredelaware.com.
Always Best Care is a great place to work.
Flexibility.
Leadership. Purpose.
Great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity. Inclusion. Compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate team Green. You can apply online or call 302-409-3710.
Teamwork makes the dream work.